Hello everybody, today I have the pleasure to propose to you this key 69, chapter 2 or step 2, entitled A New Era, a New Paradigm, Transition from Third, Fourth and Fifth Dimension. Well, we're gonna continue after having explained a little bit the concept and to clarify the concept of 3D, 4D and 5D. The objective here is really to go further, okay, to describe and to explain a little bit the concept, the philosophy, the organization, especially on a social point of view, okay, the sociology and the social organization, orchestration of their civilization in a certain extent. Well, the concept is simple. Initially, this is exactly as the genesis of humanity, the principle of a village. What is it concretely? Before being, let's say, fixed, stable, most of humankind were nomad, okay? Thus, one day they decide to maybe to be more solidar, to combine together the capacity, the skills and so on. So a village can, let's say, occur from that, okay? So let's imagine is 50 people, 100 people, okay? And actually they are connected through the desire to live together. The desire to live together. This is the way of connection. They consider that together we are stronger, and they split the responsibilities according to the capacities, the competencies, physical or intellectual, and so on. Okay, you are maybe wiser. You have a certain detachment. You will be, let's say, the shaman of the village. Okay, you have competencies for, let's say, plants and so on. You will be the doctor of the village. You are stronger. You will bring back the wood and so on. Okay, so this is well spread initially. Okay, but what I insist, the desire to live together. Actually, the global society is always through three things, three aspects, but everything at the core of everything, at the heart of everything, there is the heart. Everything should be done with heart, with enthusiasm. Enthusiasm, I say many times, enthusiasmos in Greek means crossed by God, crossed by divinity. So it should be done with heart, I insist so much. It should be good sense, it means obvious, okay? Obvious. And also, I mean, every decision, every organization, every law should be obvious and recognized as it is obvious by everybody. Okay, the real democracy means literally demos kratos, okay, the power to people, folk. That's really this. Okay, so they can contest, by the way, they can contest the law, they can improve it and so on if they demonstrate and so on. This is completely up to them. This is participative. And then there is, based on heart, let's say the good sense, that say it should be obvious, and also common sense. Common sense means it should be in a common interests. It's impossible that it's positive for minority and not for the rest. Okay, so it should be in a collective interest. That's one of their bases. Secondly, they split up, okay, with, let's say, first, city. Secondly, nature, and third, achievements. Of course, city is not city like urban, is city from cité, okay, from in Greek, it means concentration. This is more, let's say, city is society. The nature is linked to ecology, environment, and so on, resources, and achievement is what they called before work, okay, work, which is economy. Okay, so this is the three main subsets. Okay, it's, by the way, they have colors. City is blue, nature is green, and achievement is red. Okay, it's the primary colors, and then we will see 6 colors and then 24 colors. This is matching with initially the let's say the Trinity, and then the seed of life, and then with the flower of life. So a city is a society. It's with the components, okay, individual people, the actors, the orchestration through different roles, and so on. Nature is ecology, is the resources, the conductor, because it's always involve consciousness and so on. Achievements is the economy, so is the workflow in quote mark, individual and collective achievements, okay, and the dynamic as well, the dynamics. Okay, so if we go further, city we can split up, okay, with the chakra. Okay, so blue, so violets, blue, and so on. So within city there is 2 parts. The first one is transmission. Okay, the mission of to transmit. That's to say for education, for kids, for parents at school, and in general. They always transmit each other. Okay, for them the fact to transmit allows you to master your knowledge, and you practice after that. Second, among city is individual and collective organization. Okay, for individual is personal development, for collective is social life, and so on. Okay, nature, collaboration with environment first. Okay, so basically is to understand, you know, the cycles of nature, the rhythm of life, and so on, you know, like winter, you respect, and so on. So this is this. Then resources management, concretely, this is energies, yield, planning, and so on and so forth. Regarding achievements, 2 things, production and flow. Production, it is the services, the goods, what and why, whom, and so on and so forth. Okay, who is doing what concretely. Flow is the notion of balance, of stock, of plans, of breakdowns, offer, demand, needs, and so on, to make sure that there is no, let's say, overstock and waste. Okay, basically. Okay, this is quite obvious. They explain in the book Sage Passage Utopia that you can download on my website for free, I insist. They explain that they are, he compare, because the character is French, he compare with the 24 ministries. So he tried to explain. The first one is Ministry of Army, okay, Armed Forces. I explained that we are peaceful, so we don't have any enemies, we don't have a weapon at all. So of course the character is concerned, because he still have the former paradigm, and he said, but how come it's dangerous, you can be threatened, and so on. He said, no, you don't understand. Actually, the fortress of this civilization is through the heart. Okay, so high vibration. You say it's impossible to penetrate to it. It's absolutely, if those who would like to, with bad intention, to rip off, okay, or to penetrate, it's impossible. They cannot access. Okay, so this is for them notion of vibration. So doesn't make sense, and for them there is no Ministry of Armed Forces, a Ministry of Foreign Affairs. So they meet each other because there is not only one city, there is different cities for which they have their constitution, they more or less the same, but they can adjust, they can fine tune according to their fault, the people, and so on and so on. So they meet each other, but it's not imposed as in the agenda of our current ministries. Ministries of Interior, of course, there is it's human management, okay, and justice. So the law, they call it, the law is natural, okay, and respected. And you know, the principle, they consider it is the law because it's obvious, it's common sense, and it cannot be. They can make evolving, but what I try to tell you is that it's not the law because it's the law. It is because it is a beautiful law that it does make sense. Okay, for them. So they respect it only because it does make sense, and not the contrary. It's not they respect it because it's the law. Okay, so it's not stubborn, dummy, stupid, and they are goats, sheep, blind. Let's say no. It's they mature this philosophy. Then Ministry of Higher Education Research, they are always in the notion of one of the techniques. The methodology is research and development for everything, but always TIP tool, that to say theory, intuition, practice. They always balance, and they do a lot of cross, like science, art, and spirituality, always crossing the different disciplines for getting better, better results and to have improvement. Ministry of Territorial Cohesion and Relation with Local Authorities is like, foreign relations with their neighbors. So this is not formal, it's not imposed, it's just spontaneous, like you go to your neighbor and you say, hello, can I have a glass, or you want to come to a barbecue, and so on. It's just spontaneous. Ministry of Overseas, they don't have a colonies, so that's obvious. It doesn't exist at all. They cannot consider. For them, it's a complete nonsense that on Earth you have countries like France or Britain or Denmark and so on. They have they own some territories at more than 10,000 kilometers from their home. For them, it's absolutely nonsense. And he say, but you will see the first human being arriving on Mars will say it's United States or it's China, So, and it's nonsense for him. So he say, but if you believe in the fact that it's possible to have territories, that you will have no problem to believe that for planets in that case. But it's so ridiculous, like pretending to have let's say, a piece of cloud or of sky, of air, and so on is nonsense for him. Then Ministry of Culture, but for them it's permanent. It means that all the process of discussion, education, and so on is always cultural for them. For them is part of their life. They have an art of living. Okay, so everything is artistic for them. Everything is sacred. Everything is cultural, and so on. Ministry of Sport, they are based on the fact that the most important thing is not winning, but taking part. Is Coubertin, the French creator of Olympic Games. Okay, so for them, they are more in the pleasure than exclusively the quests of performance, competition, and so on. So they're more in the notion of have fun. That's it. A Ministry of Justice. This is what I explained before. They are like mature, so they cannot consider to do bad things because it would affect them. It's like treating bad the kids or the parents and so on. Is absolutely, it would be disharmonious for them. Okay. He explained it happened in the past with few people, very few ones. And how do they proceed? They went to see this person, embracing the person, reminding this person the good things he or she does, she did in the past, to help this person to get it back to high frequencies. And this is really beautiful. But you know what? It exists. It's a ceremony in Africa, in a tribe. Okay? So that's why everything is inspired of maybe the World Heritage. Ecological Ministry of Ecological and Inclusive Transition. They don't have to transition because everything is ecology. Everything is linked to nature. For them, there is nothing to do with that. It's part of it. It's that's obvious for them. Ministry of Solidarity and Health. They don't have, because they have a system very close to Ayurveda and in India, Indian civilization, and also in holistic Chinese medicine, for which there is a doctor and is just taking care of people, and his goal is to avoid that people become sick. Okay, so it's more preventive than curative. Okay, so curative exists, but is the ultimate one, and there is no renewal program, of like a cash machine and market and so on. Not at all, of course. So for them, and also they are healthy, they don't take drugs, they eat well and so on. So for them, they consider the body as a temple for contemplating, okay, contemplating, yeah, sorry, and activate the inner temple. And for them, they're healthy because they do everything to be healthy and to be to feel good, to feel better, and so on. So they don't have so much problem of health. But because this is also individual, everybody has some capacity to take care of his own health and so on. And by the way, this is even in the education. We will see after for the program of teaching. Ministry of Economy and Finance. There is an organization calculating the needs of the population according to that. Let's say the yields, the retro planning and the production follow up and so on to make sure that it's okay. But in parallel of that, it's spread harmoniously. It's not taking too much from Mother Earth and so on. So it's quite harmonious. Minister of Labor. They don't have labor anymore. Labor, laborers. What does it mean in English? But it's true for all Latin language. Travail, travailler, trabalhar, Portuguese, trabajar, Spanish, and so on. Okay, tripalium is instrument of torture. So imagine eved, eveda, work and slave in Hebrew. What does it mean? It means that this is difficult. Work is perceived, except probably for artists and craft and so on, for which they had the pleasure, but most of labor is difficult, is painful in let's say since the beginning of humanity in a certain extent. So for them is different. We'll see for the schedule in the next. They just do what they want, what they are good at as well, the skills they have, their center of interest. It should vibrate. They should feel a self-satisfaction. That's why they change quite regularly. Each few years, when they have enough, they change, and so on and so forth. So it's a capacity to readapt, to recycle, and so on and so forth. But it is really important for them, the self-realization, self-complacency, and so on, regarding this stuff. And they don't work, they are not work alcoholic. We will see for a schedule. They only, for this, for their own labor, the achievement, they work, in quote mark, 3 to 4 hours a day. Not more, not less. I mean, it's up to them. They, let's say it's not compulsory at all. They are absolutely not work alcoholic. They like enjoying life, and that's it. So, Ministry of Action and Public Accounts, but it's referred to the previous one, the merger. Ministry of Agriculture and Food, but same. Everything is planned according to the needs and the capacity of Earth. And heart as well. Ministry of National Education and Youth. But this is the principle of what they baptize light university. Okay, the city of the universe, the city of the you, you, individually, collectively. Everybody is invited to take place, light, so of light, and they have a new program. Okay, they have a new program. They teach. I mean, even the philosophy is different. The orchestration, they are outside, they are inside. They breathe regularly. This is really ergonomic. Okay, it means that the tables are more in a cycle. There was free speech, brainstorming all the time with collective programs, project, and so on. And even for there is no marks, there is no judgments, there is self-analysis only. So the kids, they give to themselves their own mark. So you're gonna say, yeah, but everybody would put A plus. No, because they have to explain that in front of their comrade. Okay, the other students. So they have to justify that, and everybody has to be agree. Okay, so it's quite tough, but actually it's more honest if they consider they didn't master and they prefer to revise, you know. So it's more wise. It's not they do for doing, they do for the carrots, you know, for the reward. They do because they like to learn. They arouse their creativity, their desire to enlarge the perspective of consciousness. So they like to learn. This is ludic. They like it. It's fun. Okay. So they have meditation. Okay. Like this, they know the body. Okay. They know the way of breathing and so on when they have to relax and so on. And last point, sorry, to finish on the fact that the marks, how to be graduated, huh? Actually, every week, 2 hours, they teach, like half an hour, it's not in a row. They teach, for example, those who are 18 years old. They teach the year before, okay, the program that they had last year. So when they are 7 years old. So it's a good way for visualizing if they master and they are able and capable to transmit this knowledge. If so, it consider that they manage, they master their knowledge. Okay, so meditation first, then yoga, physical activity and so on for boosting the energy of the body. Okay, so far it's not so original. Anatomy, they know exactly their body, how it is functioning, if they have a pain, where it's supposed to come, how to treat it with certain plants and so on, because they do also botany. Okay, they have the knowledge of self-medicine. They can manage that and so on. They know the nutrients, they know cuisine, they know gardening, how to to manage health, and so they know the nutritional intakes. They know how to cook. They know the notion of energy as well. They know that everything is energy. They know sacred geometry, okay, with the spiral, the golden spiral, and so on, all this kind of thing. Exponential, all this kind of phenomena. The sacred geometry is important because for them all the civilization is based on that. The golden number, the the flower of life, the plateau solid and so on. Everything in the architecture, everything in when they trace and someone in a field and so on. Always using that for activating the divine. Ratio, the divinity everywhere. So gardening, they know also how to manage sewing and do it yourself. So why this? Because they are in abundance, you remember? So they don't want to waste. They don't want to be in a hyper consumption always, like we are still. So they want to know how to improve and to fix and so on. And same for sewing, it's the same principle. It's this kind of philosophy, of course. And also it allows people to be more resourceful, okay, resourceful, very important. Art, music, design and so on, painting, theater for the capacity to express themselves, to do improvisation and so on. Rhetoric, philosophy, for them to be able to have some arguments, you know, to build a kind of coherent, consistent way of thinking and so on, okay, to balance counter examples and so on, to be smart and more tolerant, actually. There are also course of morals, of ethics, okay, empathy, okay, empathy, the capacity to project and to understand, non-violence communication, orientation, okay, orientation, they are followed by someone according to their center of interest, according to their skill and competencies, according to eventually the training they have to do for reaching their dreams, okay. But it's since they are very young till they are 18, 20 and even more, because it's a long process and people can change also. So project management, they are in concrete projects, that's to say, they handle from the beginning to the end with all the parameters. Okay, spirituality, history, geography and law as well. To be frank with you, this is quite inspired by different things already existing on this planet, like Montessori, Green School in Bali. What we teach, this is exactly the program we teach in the orphanage in Bali for free for a few years. And what we are building as a evolutionary school, revolutionary school, physically in Bali and also online, okay, few years when we can afford, and we help a maximum of people to implement, adjusting, tuning and so on according to people and so on, laws eventually and so on. But just to say that for me it is definitely the school of future. It will be not extraordinary, it will be just the normality in the future. And this allows you, you know, in a sustainable world with endless economy and so on and so forth. Okay, the trees don't reach the sky, all right? So in a limited planet, limited resources, physically speaking, we need to find new source of energy. Free energy is one thing, all right? But gray matter is another one. The creativity, intuition also, I didn't mention, is also taught in this school. Key 38, 39 for you if you want. Creativity and intuition, you will see how it is important, some techniques as well. And I talk about all this importance of new education in the key 45. And this is definitely a part of the transition, a new era. The new era, basically, we're gonna be invited to check everything, cross-check absolutely every discipline, but the constitution, politics, journalism, everything, science, medicine, education, everything. Not to change necessarily everything, not to destroy, not at all, just to improve and to update eventually, okay, with the worldwide brainstorming of the world. So, but this is really important. Why? Because we can see it's not harmonious so far. So this is based on what Einstein said. He said, you cannot solve the problem with the same mindset that created them. This is really important. This is based on the thing to think out of the box. Well, I invite you to meditate on all these elements. This is the second step of our inner journey, on which we will have 4 milestones. I hope he will help you to shape your master key to open up the door of consciousness, love, and whatever you want. As you know, all the roads lead to Rome and to the Dome and to home. Thank you for your attention and see you very soon.